Okay, hi everyone. This is Joshua Monson, and I am going to be playing through the top 10, as far as I can tell, most popular video games in the 1980s, as popular with modern audiences as opposed to the audiences at the time. So we're going to start off with Frogger at number 10. Okay, I am not going to stop before I at least beat the first level. I am not going to let a 1981 game by Konami beat me so bad I can't even beat the first level. Oh, Bastish! I have no idea what that did. Whew. These are some very unusual color choices on the part of the car manufacturer. I mean, I gotta give them some props. That is. Seriously though, what is it about video games and not being able to swim? Like, it is the most common hazard I think I've ever seen in video games, with the possible as I was saying, with the possible exception of spikes. Spike. I am not good at pronunciation. Oh, shoot. Is there a time countdown? If there's a time countdown, I'm dead. Okay, so now we've got Contra, which was made by Konami in 1988 and was basically one of the first, one of the first anyway, shooter games that you let later on into. Certainly one of the first. This game overall is very odd, like in comparison to the sort of stuff you'd expect to be running into now, because I'm firing in very odd directions. Like, these days holy shoot, what is that? Anyway. Like, I'm not just expected to shoot in front of me and behind me and stuff like that. No, I'm expected to be shooting, like, down, up. I can get down to the ground, which is not something I expected from a game. So, overall, this is very interesting, actually. I'm rather impressed. I don't know why I don't hear about this game more often. Like, I only hear about it fairly... Oh, shoot! Like, a lot of... Oh, yes! Okay, here we go. Die! Also, I just realized, what am I firing? Because these aren't bullets. I don't think bullets look like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think bullets look like that. This gun resembles no gun on Earth, and I want that gun. Oh my gosh! I don't want to wake up my roommates, but oh my gosh, yes! Yes! Okay, brilliant. So, we are playing Paperboy, which was an Atari game, I think 1981, but I'd have to check, that is infamous for being what we call Nintendo Hard, which basically means it's so hard, like, to the extent that it's almost kind of cheap, because what it's really trying to do is to really get as much money from you as possible, because, you know, this was from the arcade days when you could spend, where there was an unlimited amount of money you could spend on these things. It's not like today's game where you buy it and then you have everything. They can keep pilfering you for weeks or months. But hopefully you'll quickly notice that everything in this town wants to kill you. In fact, last time I played this, I got to because everything wants to kill you. In fact, like I was trying to say, I went to level 2 last time But anyway, I actually reached the second level last time I played this. And I actually reached the point where the Grim Reaper himself came to try to kill me. Like, it's not just the town that's trying to kill me. This is Death's home. Okay, now we're moving on to Super Mario Brothers, and this is definitely not the first Mario Brothers game, but it's probably, or really Mario game in general, but it's probably the one you're familiar with. Like, if anyone's ever said, I'm going to go play Mario, this is what they're probably talking about. Just statistically speaking, this is the most likely. But this really did kind of solidify the Mario idea. Like, the idea... Because, I mean, the other ones, you know, like, are completely different settings. This is the one that really set up the side-scrolling platformer format instead of the more, traditional... Oh, bloody heck! Instead of the more traditional... the earlier Mario format of kind of like the one room where you have to fight the enemy or enemies. This is the... Oh! Bloody heck! It's really the thing that turns it from a Mario game... Well, from a game about Mario to a Mario game, you know? No! Oh, I needed that mushroom. I need my mushrooms! Oh yeah, that's enough. Oh, really, the whole mushroom motif was really introduced by this game. And to this day, I don't get it. Okay, so now we're going for Galaga, which was a game from Namco Bandai in, I believe, 1981. It was a pretty early shoot-'em-up, though technically it's actually a sequel to another game called Galaxion. But, you know, everyone knows about this game instead. I've always thought this game was a bit overrated, but, you know, everyone knows about it, so it needs to be looked over. Not much to say about this one. It's an early shoot-'em-up. The bug theme's different, though. Like, oh, bastish. Because, I mean, like, you know, you see bugs a lot in, like, sci-fi imagery, but... Ah! Wow. I really am out of practice, okay. But usually you don't see it so literal, you know? Usually it's very much a kind of, you know, more of like the creepy black and green techno bug look. But these are like very literal bugs, like butterflies and green crickets and yellow bees and stuff like that. It's remarkably literal, which I guess is probably just because of the simplified graphics. Yeah, we're done here. And here we are with Dig Dug, which is a 1982 game, also from Namco. I've always been fond of this one. Pretty simple game, but remarkably difficult when it needs to be. If you play this game long enough, you'll quickly find that the sheer terror these creatures put you under is valid enough for you to lose a bit of sympathy for them. Because quite frankly, like, these games scare me more than, like, a Silent Hill game would. Oh, shoot! There was two of them! Ah! Ah! Die, heathen! You'll never get me! Okay. Okay. I'm alright. Wait, what? There was another one? Die! Oh, shoot! Ah! Ah! Okay, so now we get to Donkey Kong from 1981, which was made by Nintendo proper. And besides starting Donkey Kong's own career, and besides being an arcade staple, this was the game that really started Mario off. He's not called Mario in this. He's called Jumpman, which kind of a weird name, whatever. But basically, it's Mario. Still one of the best weapons in video gaming. How high can you get? Oh, I am not going to answer that question. Shoot! I can't jump with the hammer, can I? Oh, it's kind of useless. Okay, next time I am not grabbing the hammer, because as cool as it is in Smash Bros, I'm beginning to realize here it's kind of stupid. Ah! 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 Ah, you showed masculine strength, and thusly I love you. Okay, so now we get to Tetris, and I don't know if this is the original. In fact, I kind of doubt it, but it is the NES version, so I'm presuming it's pretty early. This is kind of the one I'm expecting to age the least. Just because it's such a simple idea, I'm pretty sure it'll translate pretty well. I am the man who arranges the plots. This is like the Nutcracker, right? That's what I'm listening to right now, right? It's definitely a very different style compared to a lot of the other games we've been playing so far. It's not so much like a, you know, a lives thing as a you do it or you don't sort of thing. Just saying, on the other hand, I've messed up a lot of times so far in ways that I would not have gotten away with in those other games. Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this game, is there? It's just, oh cool, it's a good puzzle game. But that's all you really have to say about it. Alright, so here we are with 1983's Mario Brothers, and I can sort of understand why this came before Donkey Kong or Super Mario Bros. It did introduce Luigi, and it was the first game to introduce the idea that Mario was a plumber. But with Super Mario Bros. And with Donkey Kong, those games are so easy to find that, quite frankly, my grandmother could find them, God rest her soul, within 5 minutes. This, on the other hand, I searched for days to find an online copy of this game, and this is all I could find. This isn't even the original game. This is a game with similar mechanics. No, shoot. But none of the original graphics and completely different enemies. So I think the fact that this reached a number 2 doesn't really make any sense given the way people seem to be receiving it. Alright, and now we get to the final one. 1980s Namco Bandai classic Pac-Man. You probably noticed that the version I found isn't the most graphically accurate, but given the simplicity of the game, I don't think it's that big a deal. You'll also notice this is not the first time I've played it. Even, you know, just in the sitting. Pac-Man was one of the first arcade games to really just be to be popular with just about everyone, largely because, you know, it's not a shooter or an action game or anything like that. It's not just for guys. It's for every... Oh, shoot. It's for everyone. Presuming you can survive. Oh, shoot, 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 shoot! Ah! Well, that's about the only way it could have ended. An eventual failure. So, yeah, that's the top 10 classic video games according to the internet. Thank you for watching, and have a brilliant day.